Yes, we are live.
We are live, Marlien.
Woo! Welcome everyone on this LinkedIn Live, if you're watching this now or maybe later, where Mike and I are going to talk about how to have a fulfilling career that suits you, how to be on the right track in your career. And that is the topic because we both coach young people, and we often see that sometimes people feel stuck and not sure if they're on the right track. And then the question arises, what do I do next? And Mike and I help people with that. So we wanted to start this January with tips and advice how you can create a fulfilling career that suits you. So this LinkedIn Live is half an hour, and I'm going to interview Mike on these topics. So Mike, welcome in the room. Let me start with introducing you. Do you want to share a bit about who you are and what you do?
Ja, goedemiddag, goedenavond, Marlien.
Yes, fellow Dutchies.
Giving away that I have some Dutch roots.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I, for the last 6 or 7 years, have been working as a coach, specializing in career coaching and what I call development coaching.
Yeah.
I love the career coaching because that's obviously the topic for today's discussion, because I'm a lot older than Marlene, as you can probably tell, and I landed my sort of dream best job pretty well right at the beginning of my career, literally fell into it, and nothing has sort of matched that really ever since, other than obviously what I'm doing right now. And you know, it wasn't till much later in life that I came across career assessments and how they can help, and what insights you can get from them.
Mm-hmm.
And if only I had had access to that much earlier in my career. So that's the motivation, to give a little bit back in terms of you know, my learnings and experience. So I run a company called January Avenue. The reason it's called January Avenue is actually started this journey in the month of January back in 2016. And January is named after the god Janus, who is the god of new beginnings.
Nice.
So I thought that was an appropriate name, and I love avenues. You know, they're spacious, they're broad, and yeah, they symbolize a path. So anyway, I put the combination together, and the domain was free, so I went for that.
That was the decision. Nice. Very good. Very good. And you mentioned already that when you came across these assessments and guiding your career in that way, what did you notice in your professional life when you encountered that and you said, "Oh, I wish I've known this sooner"? What did you notice?
Well, you know, I use a particular assessment, and obviously I was sort of introduced to this one, and you know, what I maybe this is just me, but what you know, what I noticed is perhaps some not as deep found, or you know, yeah, not reflecting perhaps as much as you know, I could have done. And so, you know, by using an assessment, that sort of pushed all the buttons to help me really think about things. And you know, these assessments are based on lots and lots of research. So anyway, I found one that really worked for me and my clients. So
yeah, interesting. Yeah, and let's indeed connect that in a minute to fulfilling careers as well,
exactly.
and how what are good tools kind of to go there and to get there. Then 2 sentences about myself. I'm Marlene. I coach young professionals, who are stuck at a certain point in their life. So that can be around stress and pressure that they feel at work. If you want to perform so well and are all smiley at work, but inside sometimes feel panic, stress, and pressure. And this can also reflect, from my own experience, but also from clients in career choices, that you feel stuck and feel that pressure, what to do next. And I guide young professionals to get to that answer and to also have fulfilling careers. And speaking about fulfillment, Mike, what do you notice when people, oh, before I forget, sorry, if people are watching, you can comment, so you can ask us questions. So if you want to know something, if you want to ask some questions, please do, because then we can see your comment and react to it. So yeah, fulfilling careers. Mike, what do you notice with the people that you guide when people are not maybe on the right track or feeling fulfilled, or what kind of are the signs for that according to you?
Yeah, the signs are, in my experience, is a lack of desire and motivation.
Yeah.
You know, the if you jump out of bed on a Monday morning with the spring in your step, there's got to be something going right. And clearly, if the opposite is happening, then, you know, that's telling you something. So desire and motivation for me is a really big factor. Energy, you know, just checking in with our energy levels. You know, I've just come off the call with a client who's leading his sales kickoff meeting that starts tomorrow, and we had a call today, and you know, the reason for having the call today was just to check his state going into that. I'm pleased to say he was full of positive energy, and that's what you're looking for. So, you know, understanding your energy levels is really important. And I think really, in short, I'm saying just listen to yourself. You know, if you've got this heaviness, something's going on, you just know that something's not right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know if you related this as well, but I also hear often sometimes then questions like, should I do this, or am I supposed to, instead of, do I really want this?
Yeah.
I also notice when clients come with these questions that it's often, should I stay here? I want to stay loyal to this company. I said yes to the job, rather than, do I really desire and want this, and do I feel energy with this? That what you already mentioned, that energy.
Yeah. And
And
look, you know, it's not, you know, I'm in the luxurious position of being able to just answer the question like that. But, you know, I've been in that position myself.
yeah, exactly.
And it's just not a healthy, good position to be in. So, yeah.
Yeah. What makes it unhealthy, so to say, or you say not healthy or not a good position, according to you? What do you see in the lives of clients? What do you see happening?
Well, you know, to try and sort of simplify things, basically we operate out of two states. You know, we're either really effective and resourceful. So in that situation, we'll be playing to our strengths. But interestingly enough, we're also meeting our needs, and this is one of the things that I find sometimes is not as well known in my clients, is their understanding of their own needs. So the other, you know, the flip side of that is less than effective behavior, where, you know, you're not resourceful and you're not playing to your strengths, and actually, most importantly, you're not meeting your needs. That's when you're not meeting your needs, then that's you know, that's where you can you can trip up. And when I talk about meeting our needs, you know, it's our relationship with how we interact with people on a one-to-one basis. It's our relationship with how we interact, you know, in teams and group settings, how we relate to authority, how we relate to structure. those dimensions, these are obviously the dimensions that get profiled in an assessment, but it's just, in fact, it's probably even more important to understand your needs than it is to understand your strengths. But actually, you need to understand both.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, exactly. I would agree indeed. I think the needs give kind of a direction to your strengths or something like that. If you know your needs, you can direct your talents and your strengths to the
Yeah.
goal you want to go to, or to the purpose you want to live.
Well, let me give you an example. You know, in the sort of one-to-one dimension. So, you know, you and I talking to here. You know, I'm half Dutch. You're 100% Dutch. We're well known for being very direct. So, you know, that can be a strength,
Yeah,
and what have you. But you know, there are people out there who, you know, their need is to be treated with respect, and so, you know, if you're if that, you know, if you're in an environment where it is all very direct, and you have a different need in terms of your one-to-one interactions, that can then create you know, stress.
yeah,
And likewise in groups, you know, if you're, you know, very sociable, but actually that might be something that you've learned outside, you know, in terms of your outward appearance, but
yeah,
underneath the hood, actually you need time on your own. So I'm like that. So I appear very gregarious, you know, social, etc., interact in group settings. But if I don't have the space to just pull back and have some time to myself, then I get, you know, I get stressed. And so when I'm talking
yeah,
about not meeting our needs, it's understanding that in ourselves, because I can't be on all the time in a group setting, because it,
yeah,
you know, but some people can. So it's just, you know, getting to know yourself.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And I'm also often surprised how long we can maintain like the appearance, how we work, or kind of keep doing what we do or what we are kind of good at, but in the meantime we don't feel quite well. Uh, I have experienced periods in my life where I did that, and I also see it with clients that we are quite good in ignoring what we really want and still
Mm,
continuing on that level of no, I'm fine, I don't think I'm that bad. And then you have a bad day and you think, oh, maybe I should do with something with this, or make choices in my career. But then you
yeah,
have a medium day, you forget about it, and the pattern repeats. That is
yeah,
what I see with coaching clients as well. Whilst in hindsight, and I've had that with coaching as well, they could have started their journey earlier because the problem was already there a long time ago.
yeah,
Um, and my kind of yeah, or a message or things that I also needed to learn about parents like this is that if they are coming back in your life, you need to face them because they don't go away automatically.
yeah. And you're so right, Marlene. You know, the foundation to change is facing into reality.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
actually,
exactly.
I'm in the wrong job, or I'm in the wrong work environment. You know, whatever you're saying to yourself, but actually really listening to yourself and saying, I'm, you know, this is the reality. And so
Yeah,
it's very difficult to move on from there if you can't, you know, if you sort of push that away.
yeah, exactly. So if people feel this at the moment, like, ah, there is something that's not right at the moment, but I'm also maybe not sure what my next move is, what would be a first tip that you want to give people? Yeah, how to approach this?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I would say go and, you know, go and find some help. And I think one of the, you know, when I look back on my past, the help I went and found, was my dear father, some friends, etc. But they mean well, and but there's nothing. They're not career coaches. They're not. They don't have the tools that you and I have access to in terms of doing a profile, doing an assessment, and then discussing that and debriefing that with the client. So I would say go and seek professional help. But I would say that, wouldn't I? But I can honestly tell you that's one of my big lessons that I've learned in my life. If only I had sought professional help a long time ago. By the way, I don't want to give the impression that my career was a complete shambles. I actually had a great time, but I think it's just so important that you make the best of this life that you're in, and so
Yeah.
anything that you can do to help that and find your fulfilling work is
Yeah.
is a great goal.
Yeah, and that triggers. Now you describe that. Sounds like you made some changes later on in your life that maybe also were indeed a good fit, or maybe a fit closer to your needs. Is that right to say? Is that
Yeah,
a good?
but that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Because when I was facing into reality back in 2015, and thinking, so I wasn't in the right place. I didn't enjoy my job. There were a lot of things that weren't right for me. I was fortunate enough to actually meet a recruitment friend of mine who specialized in this particular assessment. I mean, if you're curious, it's called the Berkman method. It's not very well known in Europe. It's quite US centric, but some very big corporations in the US do use it.
Yeah.
And he profiled me, and we sat down, and he did what I do now, which is just debrief it. And I mean, there was just so much valuable information in there, so many insights I got, and that helped me put me on the path that I'm now on.
Yeah, exactly. And
You
how
know,
would you describe fulfillment now for you? What is fulfillment for you? A fulfilling career? How does it feel? What do you experience?
well, I think it goes back to that question of if things aren't right, it's the waking up on Monday morning feeling, looking forward to the week, which I do.
Yeah.
And I wake up with motivation, with a spring in my step, and my energy levels are good, and I feel that I've got the balance right. That's the other thing. It's what you want in life. I mean, we're all different, but I feel I've got my yeah, I've got my I'm not a great fan of the phrase work-life balance, but let's just call it balance.
Yeah, yeah, life balance, just in general balance.
Yeah,
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 I got you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
really
it's
think.
it's a feeling, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
If yeah, it's hard to describe, but it's it's sort of like the gut feeling. If yeah, it feels
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate to it. I started my job. My first job was being consultant, but that was not really a great match. But in the beginning, I was so busy with being a good strategic consultant that
Mm,
I even didn't realize that there are more paths out there that maybe were a better fit.
yeah,
And that is that period in time where I felt a bit stuck and, this is not it, but can I really quit this? And I said yes to this. And
yeah,
in that kind of struggle figuring out, but then I quit that job, and that gave such a relief. And then I found something, training and coaching on professionals, that is such a good match that I did not know that exists, that you can thrive indeed, and have looking forward to your week and really use your talents and
And
strengths. And
how did you find, how did you find that? How did you find training and coaching?
yeah,
How did you land in that space?
that's a good question. For me, it was a bit breaking down, what do I do, what don't I like at the moment, and what
Mm,
do I like, where do I want to create more of. And it started with admitting I actually don't like this job. Can I say that out loud? Woo, woo, it was a bit
yeah,
scary.
yeah,
But I actually didn't like a lot of the projects that I did. There
right.
were a few there were a few that I really liked, and they had something to do with group facilitation, with presentation, with guiding people, with developing people. And at a certain point in my second year in the job, I decided to set a goal. Okay, I want 70% of my work being group facilitation and more guiding people in the process rather than in the content and the strategic part of things.
Mm,
And that's when my boss said, hmm, that's not really our core business. So that was the start of my answer. Okay, if this is not it, but I know that these moments I am in a flow, I want more of these moments. Where can I get that? And then in that case, the answer was not in this job. So
yeah.
I moved jobs. Sometimes in an organization is, oh, if you want this, go to this department or whatever. And then,
Mm,
I mean, the how and the what and everything follows from there. That's kind of the second and third step. But
yeah.
starting with noticing, what do I like? When do I get compliments as well? When I was in that type of project, I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
compliments of people. That's you're doing well. So these elements I noticed, and I decided I want to create more of this, and that made the step. Okay, something with group facilitation, and from there I
Right.
deepened my search, and I ended in also the niche young professionals that took a few steps in between. But for me, it really works experimenting, deciding what you don't want to do anymore, where do you want more of, try to create that, and then adjust a little bit, tweak a little bit,
Brilliant.
discover how that is for you. And then you gather information, because from sitting on the couch, you don't figure out your fulfilled
Yeah,
career. But for me,
brilliant. But
experimenting, yeah,
what you say there is just so important. You talked about what I didn't like. And I think, I just encourage anyone who's listening to get really curious inside ourselves around what is it I don't like? What's that
exactly.
about? Because you don't want to repeat that.
Yeah,
You don't want to go somewhere else, and yeah, and repeat that. So it's, there's some really valuable lessons where you are now that you can take forward.
yeah,
Um, and
exactly.
yeah, what you like and what you don't like, they're both equally important.
Exactly. Just like when I frustrate myself about something that I find something so frustrating that happens in the workplace, that is such valuable information, because
Mm,
that means that you find something important, that you are willing to frustrate about it. That, well,
mm,
then it's deeply rooted. So also
mm.
frustration, I think, is a really good source of information. Oh, what do I feel frustrated about? What do I want to improve here? Because
Yeah,
it says something about your values and about what you appreciate.
yeah. And experimenting, that's again, that's fundamental to change. Is okay, there's the reality. What can I do differently? Um, and and try some things out. I remember
Yeah,
a headhunter friend of mine said, you think of your career as you're climbing a mountain. You've got four anchor points, two hands, 2 feet, and each of those four anchor points represent something. So I think he sort of said job, industry, location. I forget what the fourth was, but you can sort of also make up whatever is important to you. But if
exactly.
you if you take all 4 anchor points off the mountain, guess what? You're going to fall down. So, lifting one and
Exactly.
trying something different there, but at least keeping the other 3, or at minimum 2, in the same place. So, we're not talking about revolution here.
No, I think that's great advice, because sometimes maybe I think it feels so big in our own head, like, oh, I need to. That's where I see that a lot of clients feel stuck. I need a 180 degrees change, but I don't know what my perfect next step is.
Mm,
And that is where the overthinking starts. I don't know my perfect next move, so I do
yeah,
nothing.
exactly.
And then this metaphor of climbing the mountain is beautiful. Try a little something, a little step, and see what it does, and the
Yeah,
information you can get from that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Small steps and then reflecting. With
yeah.
one side note, I'm curious how you feel about this, that not everything has to be fun in life, because I think we as millennials and Gen Zs can be very tempting to the Instagram life where everything is champagne and bubbles on Ibiza, digital nomading. I find the difference between really a deeper feeling of fulfillment and fun. I do things I like in my job, but also a lot of things I don't like. Work is not personally not my hobby for me, but I
Mm,
feel deep fulfillment and I get energy from it. But not everything is fun. So if something is not fun, I don't like. I am not scared by that. Like, oh, am I on the right track? It's not fun. I see a difference between fun and getting energy and a deeper feeling of fulfillment that you can navigate your path and live purposefully, and that it's good not to be distracted by only the fun or things you like, but also that it's connected to that deeper feeling of purpose. How do you feel about that, or how do you see that?
yeah, I totally agree. I mean, perfection. What is perfection? It's sort of like setting the bar so high that you're just destined to fail.
Yeah, yeah,
So I really like what you're saying that's the reality. I mean, work. Look, listen, home life, got to do the dishes. There's certain things that aren't fun. And so that's the reality of life. But it's the bigger picture, the overall, how I feel about myself in this situation. Does that feel good? Yes, no. Is Yeah. I think that for me would be, let's strive for that. You know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then of course the question is, well, how do I know? And that's quite a difficult one to answer, because really you only know because that's what it feels like. And you and I have experienced it, and so it, yeah, you just know.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you've experienced it, then you know exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. We
Yeah.
have 2 minutes left. Is
Okay.
there something that a last idea that you want to share, a last tip, or something that you want to close off with, um, for this life?
Yeah. Not. I suppose my last thing is really, what, getting curious and asking the question. So what's the fear
Yeah,
behind it? You're talking about staying in the, do I stay, don't I go, all that sort of stuff. But what's the fear that is either keeping you, and, it could be a very good reason, like I'm well paid and it helps me pay the mortgage and all that sort of stuff. But that's also part of what, it's going to be a compromise in the end. But really understanding the fear of not doing something.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Understanding what keeps you stuck as well, and what's the fear then, and yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's something that is really helpful, I think, as well, because then not only you understand yourself and your emotional choices as well, because we often think we're quite rational, but everything is so driven by emotions that that fear question really can get some clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to you listeners out there, I hope this conversation's been useful.
Yeah. I will put up our banners, because if you want to have some guidance and you reflected in December and now it's January and you look ahead of the year and you think, well, am I on the right track at this moment? And you want to have some help in guidance and some good questions being asked by a coach that can help you forward, you can look us up. My website is coachmarlien.com, and you can find Mike on LinkedIn with Mike Pringle and then coach. So there you can reach him to DM, ask more questions, figure out what he can offer you. So if you want some help, don't be shy to reach out, because it's super important to feel fulfillment in your work life. I hope this was helpful. Mike,
thank you, Marlien.
Yeah, have a good evening. And we're gonna close off this live now. And hopefully this was useful, and see you next time.
Very good. Bye.
Bye.